Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Welcome to Salt to Words podcast. I'm Tracy, and this is Robin. We're mother daughter. We have really, really good guest today. Her handle is vitalityowet.stephanie. I think I am getting that right. It reminds me of Vitality Poet. I'm going to ask her about it
As soon as she gets on.
as soon as she's here. I hope you are all doing well. I hope everybody's having a fabulous start to your week.
Yes, and one thing that we want to push with our podcast is just that we encourage someone to want to do better with their lives, to encourage them, motivate them to live the best life they possibly can. Of course, highlight Jesus Christ's name and to have everyone have a closer walk with him.
Amen.
And to interview some really, really, really amazingly talented and educational people.
Yes, I am starting to think of, how would we say? We would like to share information that is a gift to our followers. We would like to share information that we can offer and you can take and make your life better. Put all of these things to use in your lives.
Yes.
So this woman, we're going to talk about fitness, some nutrition. Who couldn't use a little more understanding in that? Clear understanding. Yes. It's a very confusing category of life. So
We're excited.
Have you seen her jump on yet?
I did. He is invited.
We'll see. Sometimes it takes a second.
Hello.
Didn't take you
Hello.
I love it when our guests pop right on.
Well, sometimes it's not always like on real, but that's the perks of being live. And it's one thing that I love about our podcast too, because it's raw and authentic, and it just is what it is.
Yeah, it's the
We
best.
don't edit. Whatever happens here.
Well, that's what I
Go.
say. I'm a one take Tina, is what I always say. What you get
Yes.
the first time is what you get.
Yes.
I love that. Love that. It's such a genuine way to do podcasting, I think.
Well, and I always thought that this was how everyone podcasted. I didn't know there was a different way for the longest time. So, learn something new every day.
So just to share with the audience, we try to send a general list of questions. We don't always stay on the beaten path. Sometimes we veer off, but we like to have a general outline. This isn't on there. Your name is Vitality Oet.
I say Vitality OET. So originally my company was Vitality Osteopathic and Exercise Therapy because I own an in-person clinic and had a training studio, had massage therapists working under me, exercise therapists, things like that. And then when I transitioned online, it was just like nutrition on the side kind of for fun. And then it really grew. And then I didn't want to change my company name and transfer stuff, so I just shortened it. So it's pure laziness, I'm going to be honest.
I love it. Well, every time I say it, so that makes sense. It's just an abbreviation
Yes.
or the letters.
Yeah.
I was like, it's easy to remember. It reminds me of poet.
I'm good with my words, but I don't think I'm that good with my words.
It's memorable to me. So we're just going to jump right in because I feel like there's a lot of information to be had with this podcast. I love this question so much. Women between 30 and 60 are told fatigue, weight gain, and hormone shifts are just part of getting older. I never did buy it. How do you push back against that narrative?
Oh man, that's like a very loaded question. I think we're just so used to being told, I don't know, like if you think about it growing up, it's like you dream of your wedding and you dream of your kids and then you dream of retirement. But there's this whole 20-year window that we're just like, waiting for the next chapter. We're waiting for the next thing. And it's just, we've never really imagined what it would be like. And then we get there and we're like, this is not it. Like this can't be it, right? And I think a lot of us are never told what to actually anticipate. People aren't told like what's going to happen, right? Like I posted today about like this whole grief that we experience during perimenopause and menopause and this transition, because it's like we just don't feel like ourselves anymore. And you go to the doctor and they're just like, oh, it's just how it is. This is aging. This is hormones. Like you just grin and bear it till you get to the other side. And it's like perimenopause can be 10, 12, like no. Like I refuse to agree with the narrative of, we're kids, then we hit puberty, which is, we all remember what that was like. Then we have some like goodish years in our 20s, but we're not doing the best things half the time and like really not taking care of our health all that well. Then we have babies. Hormones are a whole thing there. Then we're postpartum. Then we have more babies. And then it's like you have this chaos. That's it. Like we had what, 3, 4, 5 years where things were okay-ish hormonally, like, and our bodies were okay. Like, no, not a chance. Like it's insane. And people don't realize how much is actually in our control. And we blame menopause very candidly, right? We're like, oh, like it's all estrogen's fault. But the way I like to talk about it is estrogen's mama. Estrogen's like the mom of the household. She's stocking the fridge, she's cooking, she's doing dishes, she's doing laundry, she's packing lunches, she's making sure the house is clean, everyone's schedules are good. And then estrogen gets sick, mama gets sick, she goes down, and all of a sudden the house is in disarray. There are dishes everywhere. The laundry is piling up. The house is a mess. Like it's a disaster. And everyone's like, it's all your fault. But is it really mom's fault? Or is it that everybody else in the household hasn't been doing their fair share? And now you are, having to be aware of everything that's kind of went to crap, to be honest, that she's been pulling up the socks for everybody else. And she's like the MVP, right? When the MVP gets traded, that team goes to crap, the franchise goes down. Is it the MVP's fault? No, the rest of the team isn't pulling their socks up. And so we're so quick to be like, it's menopause. But when estrogen starts to go down, she's like, ta-da, here is everything that I've been making up for. All the fasting and the low carb and the low calorie and the crazy workouts and the lack of sleep and all the alcohol and highly processed foods and the go, go, go and having no boundaries and saying yes to everybody else and taking care of the kids and being taxi mom. Ta-da! Like this is what I've been dealing with. I am done. Good luck, right? And so we're so quick to be like, oh, it's her fault. And it's like we should be thanking her for, allowing us to thrive as long as we did with the neglect, honestly, and the abuse that we've been giving our bodies that we've just never been taught how to do. And so that's kind of like the way I like to describe it. And so it's like now we just got to take care of the house and get everybody else to, start doing their chores and helping out around here instead of relying on one sole player to, keep us operating and thriving. It doesn't work. It's not a good system. It's not a good system. It's not a good team.
So, we did have a guest on recently that talked a little bit about estrogen, but if you could remind us, so if estrogen's the mom,
Mhm.
who are the other family members that haven't been pulling their weight?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, there's lots of habits that we can talk about, but there's a lot of key hormones here. So, testosterone starts to go down as well. That's really important for being able to build and maintain muscle mass. Same with estrogen. So, our muscle building signal starts to go down and our muscle breakdown signal starts to go up, which is why we see more fat mass, less muscle mass. We have to be so much more intentional because our body's predisposed now to break down muscle, gain fat. We see blood sugar gets more erratic when estrogen goes down. Now, insulin starts doing this crazy song and dance. It pushes us into like a fat storing state. So even though we're eating less and moving more and doing all the right things, our body is constantly being told we have enough, let's store. That's frustrating. We don't want our body to keep saying we have enough, let's store. We want it to be like, there is fat here to burn. Let's get rid of it, right? So we're having to address that as well. Then we have cortisol, which is like if estrogen is like the mom of the house, cortisol is like the queen of the world. Like she controls everything. And that's our stress hormone. Because when cortisol is unchecked, when stress is super high, your hormones will start to decrease. We will see your blood sugar get worse. We will see your thyroid function slow down, your energy get worse, your sleep get worse, your bloating get worse. Now you have food sensitivities you never had before. Liver detox gets worse. Toxins have nowhere to go. It gets stored in fat cells. Those fat cells change the structure, making them even harder to break down, as if we weren't already struggling with that before. Then those emit more inflammation, which further blocks that fat burning pathway and pushes us into a storage state. And so it's just this roller coaster of everything that just gets worse. And the way I like to talk about cortisol and stress is it's this bucket. You have this bucket of stress that you can tolerate. And we're just constantly dumping water into it, right? Especially women. We're just like, oh, I can do that. Oh, yes, I could do that too. I don't want to do that. I'm also going to do that, right? Like we just have zero boundaries. We're always saying yes to everyone else, being a taxi mom, and then we're also cutting calories. That's a stress. We're cutting carbs. That's a stress. We're fasting. That's a stress. We're doing lots of exercise. That's a stress. We're also not sleeping. And also when estrogen and progesterone goes down, now that bucket we have gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so the bucket overflows super easily now. All it takes is someone looking at you the wrong way, your dog pooping on the floor, and that bucket is overflowing. And when that bucket overflows, we see more inflammation, blocks our fat burning pathway, blood sugar gets worse, all the things that I talked about just start to get amplified. And then our instinct is, oh my gosh, I'm gaining weight. I must work harder. I must push harder. I must exercise more and eat less. And you're just like fire hosing this tiny little cup now instead of this bucket, which just constantly keeps, overflowing and causing us to gain weight. And so what we don't realize is, one, we have to try and make our bucket a little bit bigger. And two, we need to allow time for that bucket to empty so that if we want to cut calories, if we want to go into fat loss, we have room to put that stress water in there without it overflowing. Because this is where you see women who cut calories and start gaining weight, right? Where they feel more inflamed, their blood sugar gets worse, even though they're not even eating carbohydrates. It all really comes down to that stress bucket. And this is cortisol. She controls the show. So if we're not doing things to help keep our stress hormones down, it makes it really, really hard to lose weight. And a lot of us de-stress by scrolling on social media, which has light that increases your cortisol. We're not watching non-stimulating things. We've got 5-second reels and bright colors and loud sounds and, you know, all these terrible things in the news and politics and, all the things. And that's not good for us, right? And so I think a lot of the time we don't even acknowledge how stressed we are. And we're like, oh, I'm fine. Or it used to be bad before. And just because you don't acknowledge it does not mean your body isn't perceiving it as stress. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And then we don't want to deal with it because it's inconvenient. It takes time. We got to be productive. So I'm not going to deal with my feelings. I'm not going to deal with my stress. Instead, I'm going to go to the gym and eat a salad, and that's going to solve all my problems.
Well, and to be honest,
That's true girl math.
Yeah.
if I were to say, my people, I'm stressed today, I will not be functioning. What do we
Yeah.
do now? Just for kids. If she says, oh, by the way, family, I will be checked out today for my stress levels.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we do all need better stress management skills.
Yeah. And it's
Really.
not like, it doesn't have to be like a bubble bath. It doesn't have to be like this big, because I mean, you watch things on social media where it's like this 1 hour morning routine. Like, show me a mom who
Yeah.
works and has kids that
Right.
has time to get up early and meditate and like no, like that's just not. Like I'm good. I get like a 2-second prayer in the morning, and I'm like, oh yes, like we're crushing today. Like we're doing
Yeah,
good,
we start
right?
our day off good.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's understanding, okay, how can we do things to lower that stress that doesn't stress us out, right? Because we stress about not stressing and the commitment it takes to de-stress, right? And so it can be things as little as, before you're switching tasks at work, just sit and take literally 5 slow, deep breaths. Like anything that helps slow your heart rate and breathing rate down, getting some sunshine in your eyes, getting movement that's not overstimulating. So like going for a walk. What we do with our clients all the time is we get you to lay on the floor with your feet up on the wall because it forces your heart rate to breathe, like to slow down. Your breathing rate slows down. It brings blood flow from your legs to your gut to also help you digest. Because when we're in fight or flight all the time, when we're go, 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 when we're stressed, blood goes away from our gut and then we don't digest things well because it's going to our arms, to our legs, to our brain to either fight this bear, run away from this bear, but really you're just, upset with your boss for upping the deadline or whatever it might be. And so digestion slows down, and we get bloating that gets progressively worse throughout the day. And that's a very clear sign that you're under stress. And so we do 5 minutes somewhere in your day. Get your feet up before you go on your lunch break, whatever it might be. Do some slow, deep breathing. I'm always big on spend some time in your Bibles, do a devotional, do a prayer, something to help slow down. It might be as easy as taking 5 minutes to do cross stitching or crocheting or an adult coloring book, because that creativity outlet tells your body that you're safe. Because if we're running away from a bear, we're not creative, right? Our body is like, run, get away, safety. If we're doing things that are creative, if we are doing things with people that make us laugh, if we're having small talk with conversation with people, it signals to your body that you're in a safe environment. So your heart rate and breathing rate can naturally slow down, because that's not things that we would do if we were literally running from a bear, right? Like, it tells our body that we're safe, and we're just so on and go, go, go all the time. And the other thing too is eating enough calories, eating enough carbs. Like, we know that that increases your stress so much when we're under eating and under eating our carbohydrates. When you're eating enough, that's a really easy way to pull water out of that bucket so you have the capacity to deal with the stressors. And also then we're not seeing more inflammation. We're not seeing that blocked fat burning. We're better energy, all those kinds of things. Because really a stress on our body is anything that requires demand. So like this, I can guarantee you after this, my aura ring's gonna be like, oh, you just spent like 30 minutes stressed out because I'm, providing energy, right? And I think that's where a lot of us don't realize it. And if we're stay-at-home moms and we're doctors and we're teachers and we're always giving all the time and giving our energy to other people, like, that's a stress, even if it lights us up and we love it so much. Like, when I go to conferences and speak, my stress is like, my aura ring tells me I've been stressed for like 15 hours. Like, it is so bad, but it's because you're on all the time, right? And when do we ever allow ourselves to turn off? That's not sleeping. Like,
Right.
you need to find time to allow your body to feel safe and slow down, and eating enough and doing those little creativity things and having that laughter connection with people helps so much.
That is good to know. I have actually, I see this legs up on a wall thing
Mhm. We've been doing it for
occasionally.
years.
You haven't?
Yeah, we've been.
I have done it twice, but so 5 minutes is
Oh
good?
yeah, like I do it on my because I measure everything on my Oura ring. It measures my stress and heart rate,
Mhm.
and if I do that for 5 minutes with just deep breathing, it is crazy how quickly your heart rate will come down, and it helps with digestion so much. Like, we have been doing this for years in our program, and like we add it into every challenge, every program, everything we've ever done, because it helps so much. And like, doing it before bed helps calm your nervous system before bed. But if you can do it somewhere in the middle of your day, because to break up that stress in a day, it helps so much. It's so simple. It's so
It is
simple.
simple. It is
Yep.
simple. I I don't really ever think to do it, and I was under the impression that it was like 20 minutes. I didn't know that
Um,
5 would be helpful.
yeah, 5 with like slow deep breathing. It's awesome. And like, eventually you can like build yourself up to it, right? But who has time to spend 20 minutes just sitting with their feet up on the wall,
Yes,
right? Like,
I
let's
do
face it,
not.
we got things to do.
If I could do my dishes while I have do some laundry. Um,
Well, and sometimes also like when something's that simple actually is that effective, like my brain, because I'm a very fast-paced kind of person.
Yeah.
Like, no way could this be that beneficial.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah.
no, but it actually can be because it's like tricks that our brains play on us that it's like we're not doing enough or we're not
And we think
like
anything that's effective has to take a lot of effort, right? Like, that's just how our brains are. And so we see this in coaching with women all the time who they're like, I want to do like this extreme thing. This feels too easy. And they want to start cutting things out. And they're like, put me on like this flush protocol. And we're like, detox thing. We're like, no, like, you don't have to do that to get the results. Like, but we're so used to the struggle, the grind, that we have to have this like really tough thing. And that doesn't mean it's always going to be easy, but we just expect to have to sacrifice so much. And it's like, no, like it doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to be extreme. And so many of us just can't fathom and wrap our head around like simple and easy can like get you to where you want to be. Like, will it take effort? Yes, but it doesn't have to be this extreme thing. But we're so stuck in this hustle culture, this grind, that we almost take pride in like the suffering. And it's like, why? What? Why? Like, it just, it doesn't make sense. It's crazy.
You are right about that. It doesn't seem like um, whatever that is, that hustle, if you're not hustling, if you're not, if it's not requiring some amount of energy from
Well, I
you.
also think it's just part of our culture. Like for so
Oh,
many
yeah.
years, like, we've been told we both parents have to work. We both have to do this. Just to live luxurious lives, or if we want the nice things, like it's the fast pace of the American life as well.
Yep.
And to choose, sometimes to choose to not have that lifestyle, you have to sacrifice some things. Like maybe you don't go on that vacation, or, you know, maybe we just don't go anywhere today, which,
And I think a big thing too is just like we're uncomfortable slowing down because we're so used to being go and chasing and effort and grinding that like I feel like a lot of women don't even realize that they're afraid to slow down because they're worried if they lose momentum that they won't be able to get it back, right? Like I genuinely think that people are nervous to slow down because when you slow down, it allows your brain time to like process and then emotions can come up, right? Like if you think about it, when's the last time you drove without music on? When's the last time you went for a walk and like didn't have your AirPods in and like listen to a podcast? Like we never allow ourselves to just be and let our brain go where it wants to go. And I think that's such a foreign and uncomfortable thing, even with like young kids, right? That are so stuck on screens and cell phones and like constantly being entertained that the thought of just being with your thoughts and like it's just it's uncomfortable for a lot of people, right? And I think that's a big thing is we've learned to dissociate so much and to be entertained that like you don't even know what you actually like, right? Like you go to order food and it's like you ask other people what they're interested in, right? And you don't stop to ask, well, what do I want, right? Or what movie do I actually want to watch? Or what music do I actually like to listen to? Because we're just, we never allow ourselves to actually just be and get to know ourselves. And then, in perimenopause and menopause specifically, like so much changes. Like your kids are relying on you less. Maybe there's a divorce. Maybe there's a big move, a job change. And it's like, oh my gosh, like who am I? What do I like? And that's a whole other stressor on top of things. But I think that's a big part of it is we're genuinely afraid to slow down because we're nervous what we'll find when we do, to be honest.
And that, yes, I mean, so many of those things, saying it out loud, I guess, causing me to think about all of these things. And it is true. I do, however, love the getting some sun in your eyes. If
Mhm.
I do that in the morning, my day is different.
Oh,
For real.
100%. Yep, it
It is
improves
different.
your mood, but it also helps build, like, create more mitochondria in your muscles. So, like Bio 30, everyone's like, "Oh, mitochondria is the powerhouse, the cell in your body, right?" But you actually grow more of those from having the sunlight because of what it does internally to your body. And if you think about the more places that you have that can create fuel in your body, the more places that your body has to turn food into fuel instead of storing it as fat, that's super beneficial. Like it's all these small little things of like slowing down, breathing, getting the sunlight, like making sure you're eating enough food that actually helps support your body so much. But we're all just like, no, I'm gonna make myself miserable and just focus on eating a salad and doing crazy workouts every day. Like it's so it's so crazy.
Yeah.
I
I
have a workout plan waiting for me when I get home. I can't bring myself to do it.
she won't do it now. Um,
Probably not going to do it.
so
Give
you
yourself
talk
grace.
about I in your on your Instagram and on your Facebook, you talk about reopening fat burning pathways.
Mhm.
This is really interesting to me. What does that mean in plain language? And how does a woman know if hers are shut down? How do we, this is the thing that I am mystified by.
Yeah, so there's like all the sciencey terms and stuff, but I like to label it just your fat burning pathway and you have your fat storing pathway. So when you get into your fat burning pathway, obviously your body can burn fat. It's great. You have good energy, we have less inflammation. We see that our body actually goes through a process where it eats up dead cells. So you may have seen on the internet, they call them like zombie cells, senescent cells. They are basically cells that like rapidly kind of break down, they duplicate, they can, progress into things like cancers or cardiovascular disease, diabetes, if we don't get the chance to have like basically little Pac-Man come by and like gobble them up and get rid of them for us. So we see if we can't get into this fat burning state, our body can really, breed disease, there's more inflammation, and it's blocked, right? Like we literally can't access it. Then we have our fat storing pathway, which is not like our storing and growth pathway is not bad. It's bad when it's overactive because that state is what helps us build muscle, right? But if it's overactive, we see fat storage, we see more inflammation, we see breeding of disease, which is the opposite of what we want. But this is where a lot of people are, where, fat burning is blocked and you're stuck in this growth and storage pathway. And so what happens is your body is constantly being given the signal, we have enough, let's store, even though you're eating like 1,300 calories, even though you're working out, you're doing everything right, you're eating clean, you're getting your protein, you're having your veggies. And so it all has to do with the signaling in your body. And can your body take food, turn it into fuel, and therefore you have energy? Or is your body taking food and storing it as fat? And so what we see is there's a lot of things that impact, is your fat burning pathway blocked or is it open? If it's open, then we can go into like a fat burning state. We can lose weight. If we're not, you're going to feel really frustrated. The way I like to like highlight it is you're in a forest, right? You have point A to point B and you want to get there. And so you're just like driving your car through this forest. You are hitting bushes and trees and like banging up your car, and now your car is wrecked and you have to fix it and the airbags went off and it's this whole debacle. Whereas what we want to do is let's pave a road, let's cut down the trees, let's clear them out, put down some gravel, put down some pavement, boom, smooth sailing. Like now we can go into fat loss. But so many of us are just like ramming our car into a tree repeatedly, just beating the crap out of ourselves and never getting there anyways, right? When really all we got to do is reverse and take the time to like open things up so it's able to go there. And so the things that we see that block this pathway is inflammation, which unfortunately increases when estrogen goes down. We see that poor blood sugar control, like high insulin, is going to push us into the storage pathway, block our fat burning pathway, which also gets worse when estrogen goes down. We also see this with low thyroid function, which when we go through perimenopause and menopause, we are 8 times more likely to get thyroid disorders compared to men, which is crazy. Then we have, if we're struggling with poor detoxification, that blocks fat burning. Lots of gut health issues because that breeds inflammation, typically is going to block fat burning as well. Low muscle mass, poor mitochondrial function, right? If our powerhouse cells aren't in good health or we don't have enough of them, less places for our body to take food and use as fuel. So that's going to block fat burning as well. We see like there's so many things that contribute to this. There's so many hormones and things like that. But everyone's like, no, it's just eat less, move more. And if you're not in a deficit, like if you're not losing weight, therefore you're not in a deficit, right? And it's like, that's not helpful because if I'm already eating 1,200 calories, what am I supposed to eat? Like, how am I already feel lethargic. I already feel exhausted. Like, this doesn't make sense, right? Like, and we see this with women all the time who are just struggling and so frustrated. And they go to the doctor and they're like, have you considered eating less, moving more? And it's like, oh, wow, never heard that before. Like, that's not helpful advice, right? And so it's understanding for you specifically what's blocking that fat burning. And we also need to know stress blocks it so much. And if blood sugar is poor, plus stress is present, cortisol is present at the same time, it literally prevents your body from releasing fat cells to be broken down. So you literally cannot break it down. And so this is why understanding what are the things that are driving this, because sure, I could cut my carbohydrates because that's supposed to supposedly help with blood sugar, right? But then my cortisol is going to go up because carbs help keep your stress hormones down. And so it's understanding how everything works together. And people are just so dogmatic and black and white, and it has to be this. And it's so frustrating. And this is why we're writing a book on it, to like really dive deep into this, because it is so frustrating for women, because you just hear this all the time. Oh, you must not be in a calorie deficit. Oh, just eat less, move more. But is your body in a place where it's even getting the signal of, hey, we can burn fat? Like, if your body never gets that signal, it doesn't matter what else you're doing, right? And so this is where poor sleep also blocks fat burning, right? It's all these little foundational pieces that we don't think about. And you also have to remember that in perimenopause and menopause specifically, it takes a lot less for that fat burning pathway to be blocked, because our that bucket of all that stress is smaller. So before, you could handle like a 5 or a 9 out of 10 on the stress scale. Before, cortisol went up, fat burning got blocked. Now it only takes a 5 out of 10. And so we really need to understand, how can I still push in a fat loss phase without going over the top, where then cortisol comes up and blocks my fat burning. Like, you have to understand that the amount that you could push before is now detrimental. And so we have to adjust things to match your body, because people get frustrated because, I've done this before and now it's not working. It's like, I haven't changed anything and I'm gaining weight, but internally things have changed. Estrogen's gone down, that stress tolerance has gone down. Maybe we're seeing some insulin resistance, maybe we're seeing some inflammation. And so internally things have changed. And so we can't do what we used to do. We have to learn how to adapt with this new body and, give it some love. Like, we're just so aggressive when it comes to fat loss. And what happens is, and this is probably like the most important thing that I tell women, is like, when we go into like aggressive fat loss, if you're trying to lose weight very quickly, or you have in the past, you make it so much harder to get into that fat burning state again. And when we can't get into that fat burning pathway, disease breeds, right? Like, this is where you see more cancer. This is where you see cardiovascular disease. You see diabetes, right? And these are all preventable things. And so we are trading our discomfort with our weight right now, and like panicking and pushing so hard that then we can't get into that later, that now we've taken 10 years off of our life, because we're going to have a cancer diagnosis. We're going to have a heart attack, whatever it might be, because we're sacrificing our discomfort in our bodies physically right now for being here. Like, I lost my mom 3 years ago because of stress and her dieting and everything that she went through when we were kids with my dad. And like, it was the perfect breeding ground for cancer. Like, it was. And it's like, I wish I would have known then everything that I know now, because that really made me dive deep into all of this. But, like, I can't tell you how much she weighed. I can't tell you what size of clothes she wore. Like, I don't know any of those things. I know that she made me feel safe. I know that she was my best friend. I could rely on her. She was always there. And I would have given anything to have her a few more years, to meet my husband, to meet my son. Right. And so I always stress this part so much with understanding these two pathways, because do not sacrifice like trying to lose 10 quick pounds right now, not knowing that you're going to be taking years off your life in the future, because now you can't get into that state where we clean up all those dead cells. So it's not just chasing fat loss. It's not just wanting to look a certain way. This is the health of your life for the rest of your life. This is going to dictate, are you in a nursing home when you're 80? 1 in 3 women end up in a nursing home. Like, are you going to be that grandma that your kids have to bribe the grandkids to go see once a month for an hour? Or are you going to be that grandma that gets to go and be at the soccer games instead of watching it from your phone screen, right? Like, this is the kind of impact of the choices that you make your 30s, 40s, 50s dictate what 80 looks like. And I think a lot of people just don't understand the connection between chasing this diet culture and how much it affects our health in the future. And so that's a really big educational piece that we talk about with clients all the time, is we are not going to sacrifice 5, 10 years of good quality years in the future just so you can lose, 5 pounds quicker. Like, we are doing this the right way, so that we're not putting you in that position. Because like, ethically, morally, like, I can't sit with myself with that, right? But there's so many people out there who don't even know that that's what they're doing with women, with doing the extreme stuff. And so it sucks, as we see women all the time come to us who, I feel like we're cleaning up other coaches' messes sometimes, which sucks and I hate to see. But hopefully through more podcasting and stuff like that, we reach more people so they can understand this stuff, because it's someone's life, right? Like, it's a big deal. And yes, we're uncomfortable and emotional now, but long term, your kids are not going to care if you were 10 pounds heavier for an extra 7 months while we healed before you could go into fat loss, right? Like, that's not what they're going to care about.
It is, it's like walking the tightrope
Yeah.
for me. I I have a family history, and now my children and my grandchildren are going to have, that same family history. And I'm going to add to that. Hopefully, I don't add to any health issues that would be hereditary. And trying to maintain a proper weight and trying to feel good every day and
Mhm.
trying to be content and trying to still fit into my clothes so I'm not having to buy a bigger size and wondering, like, again, being mystified. And is it my hormones? Is it what I'm eating? Should I be eating a different way? Should I be eating more calories? Should I be eating less calories? Should I eat this nutrition plan? That it's mind boggling. And as far as I can tell, America is very unclear for what the answers actually are.
Well, it's very it depends, right? Because like you might have someone come in, they're both eating the same amount of calories. They might be, have the same amount of weight to lose, very similar, but depending on their diet history, depending on their stress history, how their sleep and energy is, like will totally change how we approach stuff, right? Because your body, how it is right now, is based on accumulation of every single decision you made up to this point, and nobody has had made the exact same decisions, right? And we also have to fit it to your lifestyle, because if it's not attainable, like I always say, we like to see how you're eating first, and then we just help you fill in the gaps, right? And we figure out, okay, where are you on this like continuum journey of, are we focusing on pulling you out of that storing phase and then opening fat burning, and now we can go into fat burning? Like, where are you along this continuum? And it depends, right? If you have hypothyroidism, it's going to take a little bit longer, because now we're really having to work harder to get your body good at using food for fuel instead of storing it as fat, because your metabolism is slower and your energy is going to be lower, right? Like if you have a cancer history, if you've had a cancer diagnosis, that changes the way we do things too, right? And so it's very individualized. And this is why it's so tough to give just like black and white, because it's not that way. But I can say like the one thing, I would say like three things that are like really key is like, we're not meant to be eating in a low calorie state forever. Like that's not where we should be. We have to make sure we're focusing on sleep, recovery, stress. Like if we don't get that in check, it is very, very hard to make progress. And then honestly, like we have to be doing some sort of strength training. Like muscle mass, we lose up to 8% per decade starting in our 30s. That's a lot. And because of hormones and the stress that we experience, it is a lot harder to maintain. Like it takes so much more intentionality. And so learning to work out the right way, learning to fuel your body the right way, and learning that as soon as you can, because, like one of my favorite things is like, we have this woman in our program. She's been with us for a couple of years now, and she's been in and out. We've had lots of stuff happen in her life with like people passing away and stuff. So there's just been lots of obstacles and stress that come up, right? But like her son started tracking his food and learning, okay, like I'm struggling with my digestion. She's like, okay, let's look and see what's going on. And they're like looking at their fiber content, and like she's been the person that's totally changed the trajectory of her kids' lives, because they're seeing her learn about nutrition. And it's like, oh yeah, like I feel so much better when I eat this way, my energy is better here, I'm getting so much stronger here. And so then her husband was doing that too, and now they're all doing like feet up on the wall in the evening together. Like they get to change the trajectory of all the people that come before them, because now, or come after them, because now it's like, okay, like your daughter sees you do that, and then her kids see her do that, and it just goes down and down and down, right? And so you kind of get to be this like catalyst of change in like your generational line, which is such a cool thing to think about, right? And it can be tough, because someone has to be the trailblazer. Like someone has to take the time to do the learning, which sucks, right? There's so much to learn and understand, but then once you get it and you're there, it becomes kind of second nature. And everyone gets to see it, and you kind of get to be that little ripple effect around the people all around you, right? Like if you decide it's okay not to drink, then all of a sudden your friends might be like, oh yeah, like I don't need that either. Like it's crazy how insignificant some things are and how much it changes, but it always takes one person in that family line to like, make the investment, make the dedication to like educate themselves and do the things. And it sucks when it has to be like you, right? Or maybe it's someone else and they do it because of, they see someone like their grandma pass away or whatever it might be, right? There's always something that's a catalyst for change for somewhere in that generational line. But I always think it's like a really empowering thing, but it is tough when, especially when we dieted lots in the past, and it's like I don't even know who to trust, what's real. I mean, I was watching social media the other day and it was like showing me this like killer whale attack thing, and I was like, this can't be real. Like, what is happening? There was like a video and everything. And then I searched and it's like, oh, it was an AI generated fake news story. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I thought it was so real. So it's like I can't, it's hard to know what's real, what's not, what's right for you, what's not. And so like I won't discount that it is overwhelming. Like it is overwhelming. There's so much information and it takes time to figure out what your body needs. And unfortunately, Western medicine isn't really helping us there. That's why I left like public health, because it just wasn't wasn't where it's at. I like didn't see it as like enough teaching, enough preventative care. It was like, oh, you have it's the way I like view it with chronic disease and healthcare, it's like, oh, it's almost like, oh, you have cancer, but we're gonna wait till it's stage 4 before we treat it. Like that's literally how I feel that they are with like labs and hormones. Like, oh, we're just gonna wait. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. Oh, now it's bad. Now I have a pill for you. Now you can take this. And it's like that is not that is not the answer. That is not the answer.
My one of my daughters shared this with me today. She said, our bodies are not deficient in pharmaceuticals. They're deficient in sunlight, exercise,
Yep.
less stress, more sunshine,
Yep.
and prayer. That's what we're deficient in. It's not
Yep.
pharmaceuticals. And I'm like, that is a great perspective to have.
Yep.
Um, and now we're talking to you, and it's just the exact same thing. Um, Hormone balance feels mysterious and overwhelming to a lot of women. Me. This
Yes.
question is for me. Robin's not there yet, but I am.
I might be.
I don't
Just
know. What's one common myth about hormones that you wish every woman could unlearn?
Oh man, like I think the biggest thing is people think hormones are the cause. Hormone changes are always in response to something going in your body. So then people are like, "Oh, HRT." And HRT is great. Don't get me wrong. Like it is like taking estrogen can be great for bone health, cardiovascular health, brain health. Like there's lots of benefits. But can your body use it? Because you will hear stories of people who go on HRT and they gain weight, they feel worse, and it has to do with, can your body absorb it? Can it break it down? Can it use it? Can it get rid of it? So then we're not feeding more imbalances, right? So like understanding like how do I get my body to a place where it can actually benefit from that stuff? But also, why is your estrogen so much higher than your progesterone? Why is your progesterone so much lower? Why are your androgens so high? Why? Like it's always why, because it's not like your brain's just like, meh, we're done with testosterone now. Like that's not how it works, right? There's always something that's causing that to change. It's a response to something. It's not the root cause. And so a lot of people are just like, trying to take things, right, to try and bring hormones up and stuff like that. But it's, again, it's almost always going to come down to, are you getting enough food? Are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough carbs? Are you getting enough fiber? Are you getting enough sleep? Do you have enough connection? Right? Like we're not meant to be isolated. Do you sleep enough? Right? Are we dealing with our stress instead of just suppressing it all the time? There is like there's always a cause to it, and a lot of our hormones, like yes, obviously estrogen, progesterone will decline during perimenopause and menopause. That is how things work. But how aggressive it drops, how wild the fluctuations are, that can be adjusted a lot through your lifestyle. But we're just like grin and bear this roller coaster, taking whatever supplement hoping it's going to like fix it, right? But we need to ask, why is this so bad? Why is this happening? And I think that's where we really struggle, because when you ask why, especially at doctors' offices, they don't tell you anything. Because the truth is, a lot of them don't know, because research in perimenopause and menopause is so new. It's
Mhm.
it's finally getting some attention, right? But I mean, if you think about it, it's like leaky gut used to be this thing that, doctors would laugh about, that it was laughable. And then 20 years later, now it's like an actual diagnosis, right? But it takes people working in the field seeing stuff, enough people making a fuss about it, but then there's research about it, we need to get funding for it, then we need to have enough studies to like make a big study that compares all the studies, then that classifies the findings, then it gets put into like schools, then it gets put into like practice, and that's only if your doctor is interested in that stuff, right? Like there's so much to learn in healthcare. If they're not interested about it, like how many doctors do you think are just looking at menopause research? Like not a lot, right? And so it's understanding that there is such a delay from like seeing and learning and experiencing to when your doctor will actually catch up to it if they're interested in it. Like there's such a long runway there. And so it is hard. And like I think just testing to see where you are early is very helpful so you can track trends over time. Because then it's like, oh, my thyroid, it's still normal, right? But like normal ranges are based off the population, which normal is not healthy right now, let's be honest. Like there's only like 6% of Americans are actually metabolically healthy, where like blood sugar is good, blood pressure is good, metabolism is good. Like it's 6%. Like that's not very many people. So taking the average of the population is not healthy. And so it's understanding like, okay, like I might be normal, but how am I changing year over year? Like it's important to have that data because then you can catch things. If things start to slip, oh, why is this happening? Let's review things. Let's assess things so that you can catch things early because half the time when we get to the out of range part, it's like we're so far out of range, or the out of range is like, really out of range from what optimal actually is. Like you're digging yourself out of a pretty deep hole and it takes time. And we like Amazon Prime, right? We don't like the old school Sears catalog where you wait in the mail and the Sears catalog comes and you circle and then you have to phone in and give your credit card and then you wait like 4 weeks for it to come in the mail. Like we're used to like order, it's here in 2 minutes, right? Like so it's hard because we're so used to this quick culture that now, when we wait longer to take action, it takes longer to get results too. And I think we have a really hard time with that.
So this isn't this isn't on our question list, but I just do want to fit it in really quick. So I don't have an Aura ring, but I do have my Apple Watch, and I weigh myself on a scale that tells all the
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Is that hokey, or are those really actually good tools to have?
So when we're looking at like fitness trackers, like Aura Rings, Fitbits, things like that, I love using it for sleep score and HRV. Like those are two huge ones. I like Aura Rings, it gives you the stress score too, but for sleep and your heart rate variability, amazing because it's telling you about your recovery. It's telling you about, are you in your parasympathetic nervous system, that rest or digest, or are you in that fight or flight sympathetic state? Because we don't want to be in fight or flight. And so the lower HRV is associated with fight or flight. Higher means you're more in a rest and digest portion, recovery part of your nervous system, which is good. So I like those because then we can watch, again, trends over time. Absolute values, they suck, right? Like there's so much variability with person to person, but like watching trends over time for you, we can see, oh, we are seeing some improvement. Is the absolute value correct? Maybe not, but we can see there's an improvement happening, right? Same with those scales, the BIA scales. They are, you gotta take them with a grain of salt, because like if you weigh yourself and then you hop off and then drink some water and hop on, it'll tell you have a lower body fat percentage, because it all has to do with how quick an electrical current goes through your body. And so the quicker it goes through, the less body fat it says you have. So if you're more or less hydrated, it'll skew the results. So you always want to do it the same way every morning, after you go to the restroom, like haven't drank anything, and try to be very consistent with it. And again, good for monitoring trends over time. Absolute value for body fat percentage, not super great, but I mean, if you're consistently seeing it come down, then we can say, oh yeah, you're probably losing some body fat, right? The thing I always like to warn people about with the fitness trackers, calories burned in exercise can be off by up to 200%. So when we're looking at, yeah, it's crazy. I did a whole podcast on it comparing different ones. Yeah, there was a study from Harvard actually, and they actually quoted, like they were shocked at just how inaccurate they were from like actual testing. It's because they all use different metrics, different equations, right? And calories burned depends on hormones, how recovered you were the day before, your stress, how much muscle mass you have, right? Like there's a lot of things that influence how well your body is at burning calories. And so I always say ignore calories burned in workouts. It's absolute like crap. Doesn't matter. When we're working out, we want to work out in a way that helps our body burn more calories when we're not working out. So putting on muscle mass, that's the most important thing that matters. Do not worry about calories burned, because yeah, that can be off by up to 200%. So if it's inaccurate and then you're eating based on how many calories you burned, that can be like a recipe for disaster. And so I always say, do not pay attention to calories burned. just don't look at it.
I've never heard that before. I appreciate that. I'm going to use that.
I took my watch off when I saw the Apple video where it can call 911 on you if your heart rate drops. I was like, oh, that's creepy.
Watch off.
I was like, not gonna do that on this one.
So our bodies are temples, but we live in a culture that often ignores that truth.
Mhm.
How do you see affecting in women's health, healing in practical ways? And I have a feeling that I know what you're going to say, and I like it because it's helpful. Go ahead.
Well, a big thing is like your body is not your self-worth. And I think this is a big thing that people forget. And I think we can almost have like an unhealthy, like idolic like relationship with our body and the way that we look. We become obsessed with it. And it's like a self preservation, self image, like obsession. There's nothing wrong with wanting to, look good. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be healthy and to improve yourself, but there's so much more to that. And I don't think people realize, like, people think about the food that they eat and, like, oh, yeah, it probably wasn't that good for my body, right? But we forget about the way that we work out, the recovery that we do, the relationships that we have, what we read, what we watch, what we listen to, the conversations that we have, our own self-talk. Like, that also is, your body, your temple, like, that's going to influence that so much. And so it's not just what you eat, how you work out, because yes, that matters. You have to honor your body in the way that you speak to yourself too. And I think that is one of the biggest things. And just in to yourself in general. Like, I read a book called David Perceived He Was King, and I recommend everyone reads it. It was like a life-changing.
Say it
I've
again.
never David Perceived He Was King. It is so good. I've never highlighted so much in a book in my entire life. Like, I'm not a highlighter, and I'm like, oh, I need a pen for this. Like, it was so good, so many great exercises, but it helped me to remind myself that, like, my self-worth, my value is not based on my appearance or what I accomplish. Like, it's what God says I am. And, like, that's been really big for me. But also, it was all about, like, your identity. Like, who are you? And it's not just, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a mom, or oh, I do this for work, or, that's not who you are. It's what you do. Who are you? Like, what are the traits you actually have? And a lot of the time, like, our negative self-talk is just tears us apart. And it's like, where did you get that from? Because we weren't born thinking those things, right? Like, somebody told us, and it definitely wasn't coming from scripture, definitely wasn't coming from God, right? Like, it's, where did you hear those things first? And we need to unlearn them. And there's a really good exercise in there that asks you to reach out to a few people and ask them what they believe your three strongest traits are, and then a story that, like, highlights that, and then your biggest impact on their life. And so I found that very helpful, because when it comes to, like, your body is your temple, like, I think that's just, it's everything: body, mind, soul, like, you as a person. And sometimes, like, the way that we think about ourselves and the way that we act is directly based off of that. Like, we will always act in accordance as to based on what we believe to be true about ourselves. If you believe that you're not a patient person, you will always act impatient, right? Because you believe you're an impatient person. And this is just like a subconscious thing, right? And so unless we identify with, positive traits, we're always going to act in ways that harm us, because, like, we believe those traits, those things to be true, that we're not worthy, that we're not healthy, so therefore we don't do healthy things, right? And so in this book, when they asked you, that said to ask some people that you've known for a long time and some people you haven't known for a very long time, and ask them those things. And so there were things that surprised me. So there was things that I knew, like strength and resilience, and he was going to come up because a lot of people who've known me for a long time know I've persevered through a lot and endured a lot. But there were people who are like, oh, you're a risk taker. I'm like, what? Not me. Like, I'm very calculated. I make my pros cons list. Like, no, like, you've taken risks in business that, like, there's no way the pros cons list made sense. And I'm like, okay, I could see that. But now when there's, like, a situation that requires some risk, I'm less afraid, because I identify that, oh yeah, I am a risk taker when it comes to, like, business. And so now I act in those ways more confidently because now, I identify as that. And sometimes it takes someone else saying it for you to realize it. And we're so quick to agree with the negative things that people say about us that like sometimes you need those positives. So I literally have a notebook of like 10 people, like what they've said about me, the story that they've said, have impacted them, because you need reminders of that, because the negatives can get in there so quickly. And when we're in that negative headspace of I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm this, I'm that, very hard to want to go eat veggies, very hard to want to go for a walk, very hard to, spend time in prayer or read a devotional or spend time in your Bible or read something that's good for you. You want to watch garbage TV and maybe not listen to great music with, a tub of ice cream. Like you don't realize how much your body and the choices you make are dictated based on the mindset stuff. And I think that's so important. And little things like this and like really diving into my faith in the last couple of years has completely transformed that. And it's a lot easier to make the decisions you want to make, because when your values are clear, decisions are super easy, right? And so when you value and identify yourself as a certain way, it's a lot easier to say no to this drink, to say yes to this, to no to this, to prioritize this, to have boundaries, right? Like it changes everything. And so when you say like honoring your temple or not doing a good job of it, it's like I think it really does come a lot to mindset, because you will always treat yourself the way that you think you deserve to be treated. And like a lot of us have had terrible messaging for a long time, and we need to really rewire that.
I did not know that's what you were going to say. That's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I love that. I like that you said that it's everything. It's who we're spending time with. It's how we're thinking of ourselves. It's what we're
Mhm.
listening to, what we're looking at, what we're surrounded by. I didn't see
Mhm.
that coming. That is a beautiful way to view taking care of our temple. It's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. It's
Yeah, because when
perfect.
we think of what we consume, we always think of food, but it's no, like the kind of music you listen to, the podcasts you listen to, like what you read, what you watch. Like my husband and I did a big audit of like, I think there's some shows that we really are not serving us anymore, that let's just like
Mhm.
not watch that anymore. We like change the kind of music that we listen to. Like I'm always pretty conscious about like what I read, but then it's like, social media accounts and things like that. It's like, what are you consuming? Like I did a big clean out of social media, and I have a lot of things on my feed now, farm animals, as we have farm animals, and it's like people dressing up their chickens or their chickens on swings, and it makes me laugh and it makes me smile. That's a lot better than, politics, news, all those things, right? So we don't realize how much what we consume affects how we think, and then how we think dictates all of our actions, always.
It's true. It is true. I tell my grandkids, I tell my kids too, you can't unsee a thing and you can't unhear a thing. Our body and our mind and our heart store all of that.
Yep.
So be careful, little eyes that you see, you
Yep.
know? Um, so in closing, we'd love to ask our golden nugget question. Everybody has something to throw up on the table that everyone else can grab and make their life better. What would you say your golden nugget is? If you could say one thing and people would take it.
Honestly, people always laugh, but I'm like, eat your flipping carbs. Like, eat a
Eat your
potato. Like,
carbs.
they, potatoes make you
I
feel
love that.
better. They lower your stress. Like, just free the carbs. Like, just carbs are good for you. Let's let them go.
Eat the carbs.
I would put it on a
I'm
billboard,
gonna make a
honestly.
shirt for you that just says "Eat your carbs."
Honestly, though,
Hashtag
I'm like, I
today. Eat
really
your
think you're
carbs,
gonna have.
girls.
Yes, just go have a potato. Go have a potato.
This has been an absolutely delightful conversation. I have loved it. It's risen to the top in my mind of some of my favorite podcasts. You are absolutely lovely. And
Thank you.
I hope that everybody will give you a follow and glean from the information that you offer. We're going to get the book.
Perfect.
Yes, I'm excited for it.
And
It's so good. You guys will love it. It was like one of those life-changing type books. That one, and then Living Fearless by Jamie Winship, also super incredible. Like that was one that just like had so much introspection for me that I had to go back a few times. So they're both really good faith-based books, but like they're so good. They're so good.
And you wrote a book or you're writing a book?
I'm writing a book. Yeah. So we're about like 8 chapters in right now. So we're hoping for an early 2026 launch, which is very exciting. So
Congratulations. That's
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, it's been a big project.
I bet. I couldn't imagine.
I could not imagine. It would stress me out to even think about writing a book. Stress level stayed on.
I hope that it brings you joy instead of
It
stress.
does. It does.
That's that it brings you joy. It has been wonderful to talk to you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for
All right.
having me.
And I hope to talk to you again someday because this was very
Yes.
enlightening.
Yeah, anytime. Love it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.